Take Back Your Health Now, Episode 50.
You're listening to the Take Back Your Health Now podcast, the show that interviews the top doctors, athletes, trainers, and entrepreneurs to help you find the holy grail of health. Now here's your host, Dr. Dan Margolin.
Hi, this is Dr. Dan Margolin with another segment of Take Back Your Health Now, where we pull out all the stops in search of health's holy grail. We are very excited to have a wonderful guest, Jeff McMahon. He's been a trainer for almost a decade now and is the founder of Total Body Construction, an online fitness training platform. His degree is in pre-med, Pre-pharm, and he is dual certified in exercise science and sports medicine. His training style is different than most, by and large from his diverse background and expertise. With a black belt in Tae Kwon Do, certification in lifestyle and wellness, and also doing massage therapy for 3 years, Jeff has helped everyone from weight loss to weight gain, cancer to diabetes, injury rehab to celiac disease, back issues to sports-specific training. Jeff, welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me. So excited to be here.
So we're excited to have you on. So give me a favor. Just talk to us a little bit about, you specialize in virtual training. What is virtual training and how did you get involved with it?
Yeah, virtual training is when people get to work out either at home, when they're traveling at hotel rooms, things like that. And it's all live sessions through Skype, FaceTime, some sort of video platform. And I got into it because I was listening to Pat Flynn's podcast, and my mom had a stroke and lost use of the left side of her body. So we did a little bit of virtual training with her stroke support group. For the people that couldn't get to physical therapy, we would do a video call and get them exercise they could do at home, and they loved it. And when Pat Flynn on his podcast said he wanted to train for triathlon, I reached out telling him about my story and how virtual training helps these people. I'd love to train him for a triathlon because he's in San Diego and I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. So for 9 months, we trained virtually. He was 110th out of 1,200 male contestants, beat his time by over 20 minutes.
Wow.
And since then, we've been training for 2.5 years. I have almost 24 virtual clients all over the world. And it's becoming a new convenient phenomenon just because it allows people to get that convenience of working at home and have the accountability of a trainer there, so they, are making their sessions consistently instead of, skipping them because it's just a home DVD or whatever like that.
So Jeff, let's just show me how this would work. So you've got, let's say, the Skype set up. If I'm weightlifting, right, I'm doing curls or something like that. I have the Skype set up, and you're actually critiquing me, and you're really holding me accountable for how many sets I do, reps, those kind of things.
Yeah, it's a live call. So let's say we're both on the call at 6:30 in the morning. We'd be going through the workout, and I can watch your form. I can control your intensity. Count the reps. Show you, the pace of the workout, things of that nature. And the best part is, you're getting a product that is allowing you to reach your goals. And I know I'm effectively giving you products so you're not getting injured. You, can ask questions. If your knee starts hurting doing squats, we can change it doing, something else. Things like that you don't get from, YouTube or a home DVD workout or something like that.
Jeff, that's actually pretty cool. Do you ever do it as a group where you would have multiple people working on at different locations, or it's usually just one-on-one?
Right now, we're specializing in one-on-one. The group thing is only hard because of time zones. I mean, I go from West Coast to Puerto Rico to England to Canada. So trying to get people in the same time zone is not always easy. But with, products like Zoom, group training would be no problem as long as they can all make it at the same time.
Right. How do you go about getting clients? How did you get your first client for this?
Pat Flynn was my first client from Smart Passive Income. And since he was a big name in the podcasting world, I used him as leverage to get other podcasters like John Lee Dumas, Chris Ducker. And then from there, got entrepreneurs like Jeff Wenberg from Lead Pages, Travinia Barber, Sue Zimmerman, who's an Instagram influencer. So a lot of it is networking with the people that I have, but also I go to events like Social Media Marketing World and meet new people there, or reach out on podcasts where there's successful entrepreneurs and, tell them about my story and see if they're interested in, doing an assessment with me and checking out virtual training.
Jeff, I got to tell you, this is a brilliant idea. You are truly an entrepreneur. I mean, this is actually something I never even thought existed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. Well, let's go into, give me your personal story a little bit. Like, what made you just go into personal training? I said, you have a black belt in Tae Kwon Do. Give us your background a little bit.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a surgeon. So I went to college for pre-med, and after my sophomore year, I was told I couldn't apply to med school because I'm red, green, blue, orange colorblind. So like doing diagnosis, seeing when people are jaundiced and they're turning orange, and I won't be able to recognize that, would be kind of a big factor. So
wow.
That was a big blow. At the same time, my mom had a stroke my freshman year in college and lost the use of the left side of her body. So I did massage therapy for 3 years with her and saw the benefits of that one-on-one connection where you can see improvements, see the person smile, knowing that they're getting better. And that kind of drove me into the personal training side. And when I first graduated college with my pre-med degree, I went back to get my minor in pre-pharmacy because I thought I could be a pharmacist. And living in Cincinnati, they only had one school at the time. It was very competitive. I didn't get in, which was a blessing in disguise. So I stuck with personal training, grew in my knowledge for the dual certifications with the sports medicine, the exercise science, and used my current knowledge of the pre-med and pre-pharm to work with people, that are on medications and how to get off those medications, or to, come to me that are battling cancer or have, total knee replacement, things like that. I can help with and get them to where they want to be and live a happy life. And that's my biggest, joy and why I keep doing what I'm doing, because seeing those people smile every single day is a lot of fun.
No, it's great. Jeff, what are the 12 fundamental habits to a healthy lifestyle? I think you talk about that a little bit. What are they?
Yeah, they are, there's stress. So how to manage your stress. There is morning routine. So when you wake up in the morning, you want to start off your day in the right route. Then there's, alcohol, which some people love, some people don't love, how to handle it, the ins and outs about it. There's posture. So all day.
Just go into alcohol for a second. Just from a healthy lifestyle, is there an amount of alcohol? Like, let's say I've read things where you could have a glass of, red wine maybe twice a week. Is there a certain amount that's actually would be considered within the health realm?
Yeah, the one drink a day would be considered health realm. But the biggest takeaway from alcohol that people don't know is if you're going to go out and party with your friends, just know that whatever calories you take in from alcohol, your body has to process those before it processes any food. So if you're going to go watch a football game and you have 5 beers at 100 calories each, that's 500 calories your body has to burn before it starts burning those chicken wings you're eating or the nachos or something else. So the biggest, takeaway is either drink and not eat as much, or stick to, like proteins, like, have a grilled chicken breast as you're drinking, or which no one really does. But if you know to be smart about it and stay away from carbs at the same time, you're not going to explode your body with too much sugars and, get that belly, the beer belly that everyone dreads so much, and the love handles and things of that nature.
Is that what's the main reason you see for the beer belly and the love handles?
Well, the beer belly and the love handles, a lot of it comes from, the excess carbs we have in our diet, which people don't transfer into energy. So the body stores it as fat, thinking I'll save it for later when, I need it. And then when you have alcohol and your body doesn't process those calories, you have all those extra calories you're consuming, you're going to gain weight a lot quicker. And
do you tell your clients, like, let's say they've had a good night out or something like that, do you increase their workout? You give them an extra workout that week or anything like that to make up for it?
Yeah, we'd alter, more salads, a lot more green veggies. So that way you can consume food, but it's a lot lower caloric intake on those next few days to offset the overabundance you did that night of partying. And then, try to limit alcohol to 2 days a week at the most. If you're drinking 4 or 5 days a week, really think about it and see why you're doing that, as opposed to the benefits you get from drinking.
Right.
My mom's from Italy, so growing up with a glass of wine at dinner was just the norm. So I know that you can have alcohol and be fine. It's the overabundance that too many people do that, use it as a crutch. Like, I had a really stressful day, so I'm going to have a bottle of wine or 6-pack of beer or whatever it ends up being.
Yes, it's interesting. Do you find that Europeans in general are thinner or in better shape than Americans, or is that not true? Or what do you find in terms of that?
I find yes, only because a lot of them are so much more active. They don't have all the 9,000 TV shows we have and all the games and all that stuff that so many kids we have in our world. Husbands and wives work so much, kids go to daycare, so they're constantly on devices. And the parents get home, they don't have a lot of time to interact, play with kids, so they just let them watch TV, play on their iPad. As long as the kids are being quiet, they're fine.
Sure.
And that lazy habits of doing that has made our generations after generations become much more unhealthy. And that's why our diabetes is so much higher compared to the rest of the world. Our food choices are very poor because most parents aren't meal prepping. They're just buying fast food or takeout or whatever's easy and convenient. And kids aren't ever getting vitamins and nutrients from green vegetables because they're eating French fries all day or drinking soda or whatever else.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So I sort of threw you off when you're going over those 12 fundamentals, and I threw you off on the alcohol one, but let's jump back into the one following that, I guess.
Yeah. Posture is a big one just because gravity pulls down on us all the time. So understanding how to keep your posture more correct so you have less back pain, neck pain, things of that nature. And then there's shoes. You're on your feet a lot throughout the day. And if you have improper footwear, that can correlate to knee pain, back pain, hip pain, things of that nature. So knowing if you're running, to buy running shoes. If you're, going to be standing in an office all day, that kind of thing. And the other parts for the 12 habits would be sleep and how important sleep is, how important water is for hydration and how your body uses the water. And then the other one would be meditation. So I don't know, some people like to meditate, some people don't, but meditation in 10 seconds is all breathing. All you're doing is just breathing. And the more that your body controls your breath, intaking oxygen and controlling CO2 out, A, you're going to be burning more fat through your Krebs cycle in your body. But then B, it just calms down your emotional system in your body so you can allow your body to relax, focus on the day, and have a clear mind, as opposed to, like most Americans are overwhelmed with time. They think they have to do this, this, and this. They wake up late. They don't give themselves enough time in the morning to get ready. They're rushing. They're always in a constant state of stress. So that morning routine with meditation is so important because when you start your day off happy, you can then flow through, have a game plan for the day, and take away a lot of that stress that so many Americans feel.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like our society is just based on just continuous, like the treadmill, right?
Yeah, and it's terrible because it wears down in our bodies. So many people have adrenal fatigue, which is very underdiagnosed at this point. A lot of functional medicine doctors that I train with and work with talk so highly about adrenal fatigue, and your body's always in this fight or flight response. Your adrenaline's always being used up, and then as it fatigues, your metabolism slows down, you gain weight rapidly, you're chronically tired, you have headaches, like all these symptoms. People just associate with life and getting older.
Right.
It's really just adrenal fatigue, typically.
And Jeff, how would you diagnose adrenal fatigue? How would a functional doctor actually diagnose that?
Well, they have you do a test to see where your adrenal levels are at. It's, I think, a saliva test, and they test it 3 different times throughout the day. And when you get the results back, it tells you how much your body is producing adrenaline throughout the whole day, the morning, the afternoon, and evening. And if it's too much and your levels are low, then we can fix that to for the internal part. But the external part is the stress in itself, and how do you manage stress? Is it time where you have to have a to-do list, and the more you check off, the better you feel? Is it emotional stress, like there's family members sick and you're worried about them, making it through whatever cancer or disease they're fighting? Or is it mental stress that you feel like you're pulled in too many directions and you can't focus on one thing to get it done to, have that sense of accomplishment?
Right.
So, but yeah, stress is such a big part with what I do with my people, because working out helps relieve a lot of that tension, a lot of that stress. That's why with my black belt, a couple of my virtual clients have, boxing bags or kick bags in their garages, and they just love to do kick bag workouts because you get to punch stuff, you get to hit stuff and just release that tension. It just feels good punching stuff sometimes.
Sure.
So that's why I love my background with my different knowledge of what I can do with people, because there was just a study on the news this morning about punching for Parkinson's and how the motor skills of just simple boxing can help people battling Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, cystic fibrosis, things that muscle related diseases that are out there. The more repetitive your brain is using those appendages, your arms, feet, whatever you're doing, the stronger and longer prolonged you have of a healthy life versus letting your muscles deteriorate, sitting in a chair all day, things of that nature.
It's funny. I read a book called The Problems of Work, and one of the things they were talking about what exhaustion was. And in the book, they were saying that exhaustion comes in the form sometimes of people that work with things very close to them, like a computer screen. When they relax by watching television, and things stay close to them. And really the way they should relax is go out and take an hour walk where things are further away from them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or throw a ball where things actually can go out further. And I've used that myself, and I found just in terms of stress relief, it's a big difference. You take a really nice long walk on a beautiful day and you start throwing things, and you actually, there's a point you go through a little bit of exhaustion, and then you come out of the other side and you feel like you just woke up. It's like a very sort of a refreshing thing. Do you find the same thing happens to your clients after they've had a really good workout?
Yeah, absolutely. Any kind of exercise, whether it is, walking or working out in a routine or whatever, your endorphins are going to be released at a higher level to, maintain that physical activity. And in doing so, you're just naturally happier. The more upright you are, the more your lungs can take in oxygen. The more they take in oxygen, the more your muscles don't feel fatigued. And the more your muscles don't feel fatigued, the more your metabolism can work. It just all goes together. That's why they have the saying, sitting is the new cancer. Because that's all people do. We sit in a car going to work. We sit at our job all day. We come
sitting is. I thought you said singing is the new cancer.
Oh, no.
I said, man, you must listen to me sing, haven't you? Sitting. I got you.
Yeah, sitting is the new cancer, and how it's just corrupts your posture, slows down your breathing. Just does horrible things to your body because, like you said, you're not out there being active.
One of the things you mentioned as the 12 fundamentals is posture. You talked about posture. So how when somebody ages, right, describe to us how their posture changes and whether that's natural and how we could actually avoid those kind of things.
Well, simple thing. Gravity is always pulling down on you. So if you were to stand in a neutral position, every inch forward your neck is protruded from neutral is an extra pound of weight your body is pulling on those neck muscles. And your head already weighs about 8 pounds. So most people have an average of 3 to 5 inches away from their neutral position because when you're sitting in a car, how many of you put your head back against the headrest? Probably none. When you're sitting in a chair, how many of you puff your chest out and have both shoulder blades touching the back of the chair at all times? None, because we're rounded forward, reaching on a computer. We're always rounding our back, and that's where you get that lordosis or hunchback, as people call it, at that upper back is starting to round because of just gravity pulling down at an awkward angle for your cervical spine going into your thoracic or lumbar spine. So in doing posture, the 3 biggest things I always tell everyone is when you're sitting in a car, put your head against the headrest. That'll keep your neck neutral and allow your body to, stay correct throughout the whole. I have a 30-minute commute to work, so that's a long time being in a car. Second, at work, puff that chest out and really squeeze your shoulder blades, and then start typing on a computer or whatever you have to do to alleviate any neck strain or headaches that you get from being rounded forward. And then third, is what they call osteoporosis, and your bones start to deteriorate as you get older. Exercise is the number one cure for osteoporosis. Not taking Boniva or any of these calcium pills and stuff like that. Your body will create the most density and calcium and red blood cell count from your bones getting stronger, which only comes from resistance training. That doesn't mean you have to bench press 200 pounds, but work with 10-pound dumbbells, do a workout routine 3 or 4 days a week. And I always have the saying, live your life in the majority, meaning if there's 7 days in a week, be active the majority of the week. At least 4 days, be going for a walk or be getting a workout in or play with the kids for an hour. Do something active at least 4 days a week.
So you talked about the neck and stuff. I was just wondering, I had read an article on running, and that there are actually head postures or neck postures that you, when running, should keep your head so that you don't get that situation where the weight of the head is actually pulling forward and creating back problems, stuff like that. Can you talk about that a little bit, just in terms of running, where your neck should be, where your head should be?
Yeah, running is, in my mind, very, very bad for you in general.
Okay.
Not running a 5K, that's one thing. But the marathon runners that do 2 or 3 or 4 marathons a year, like, you're always running and you're pounding on that pavement. Every foot that lands on hard cement, you got to remember that impact goes from your ankle all the way up to your neck, because your whole body is conjoined together. So
right.
That constant pounding, you're always leaning forward to keep your balance, because if you lean back too far, then your knees start to protrude further and you hurt too much. And then you got to think of running shoes. Their main compensation is for your heel. So they're already at a lift, kind of like women in high heels are always on a lift where their toes are hitting first. Again, forcing your body to be leaning forward because you're already leaning that way with your sneakers. So best thing is to do the puff your chest out, go at a pace that you can talk to somebody next to you. That way you know you're jogging in control as opposed to running out of control. And then just keep those shoulders back and relaxed as opposed to forward and hunched, trying to keep your hands too close to your chest. Keep them wider out by your ribs.
Wow.
So many people, when you see them run, are holding their fists right in front of their chest, like almost together as they run, rounding their shoulders forward. And you can tell a runner from a mile away by the way that they are leaning forward constantly with their upper back.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, you do. And you see that too in older people. You'll see people just start to lean forward. You know, I could see it in my dad a little bit, where they're actually just sort of coming forward because they're not really concentrating on their posture. It's amazing, you know, what you start to think as a natural progression. But what you're saying is it can be avoided. It's just understanding what it is and actually working it and strengthening those musculatures and correcting your posture, I guess.
It can be avoided and it can be reversed. Like, I have a 65-year-old that had osteoporosis when she was 61. And by the time she was 64, she doesn't have osteoporosis anymore because of working out, making, her muscle stronger and correcting her spine because she can stand up straight now.
I mean, is there an age you find that you really you're too far gone, or you can't really build muscle anymore, or is that not true?
Not true. I mean, I have an 84-year-old that's survived breast cancer, lung cancer, knee replacements, and her biggest thing is she doesn't want to, fall in the middle of the floor and not be able to get back up again. That's a big fear for people getting in their older age, is being able to fall down and not be able to get up, and you're stuck there, until someone comes find you. So age, they say age is just a number, and it is. No, you're not going to be a bodybuilder at 80 years old and have a six-pack and that stuff. But your quality of life, where you have mobility, can still play with grandkids, can go drive a car, that kind of stuff can still be in super effect at that age.
Yeah, we just interviewed a gentleman who came up with a thing called a sling bow, which is on balance. And what they were talking about is how, just like as you get older, things droop. Well, you also start to lose your ability to balance. And that is also something you can change. You can actually work on your balance. It was something I had never really contemplated. I never thought that, wow, there's something that you can actually work on. But he said the improvement is almost magical. When you really start to put concentration on it, you can way, way improve that. So what I love about what we're finding out on this show is really that age is sort of just a number. And there are a lot of things that we are taught to believe are part of the aging process that we can actually take control of. And I really appreciate you bringing these things to the forefront, Jeff.
Yeah. And, a little tip on balance, which is super important because it's based on your core, is when you're brushing your teeth, stand on one leg. When you're washing your hands, stand on one leg. That little bit of coordination to do that will be a habit over time, where that you can slip on ice and you'll catch yourself because you have the coordination and balance to not fall down. Where you
that's powerful.
Trip your foot on going up a stair and your foot gets caught, you can catch yourself and not do a face plant because you have that core balance to then put your next foot down.
Wow.
So just little thing, brushing your teeth or washing your hands, just stand on one leg and let your body balance as you do it. That's all. That's all you got to do.
Wow.
You don't have to get crazy
that's
with it.
easy enough to do, right?
Yeah.
Jeff, you talk about sleep. Talk to how much sleep is healthy, how much is not healthy, at what ages, etc.
Healthy sleep is 7.5 to 9 hours. And with sleep, your body sleeps typically in 90-minute intervals called your REM cycle. So if you want to sleep and wake up feeling refreshed and not slamming the alarm clock everywhere in the room, set your alarm clock for 7.5 hours or like 9 hours after you go to sleep. So like if you go to bed at midnight, you're going to wake up at 7:30 or you're going to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to go below 7.5 for, metabolic reasons. Your body burns the most fat while you're sleeping. So you want to be recovering and recuperating from the stress you put on during the daytime. When you're getting like 3 hours or 4 hours of sleep, your body's not getting enough time to recoup. So your metabolism starts to slow down. Your organs start to slow down. You're not functioning properly like you should. Your brain starts to get foggy, things like that. I sleep for either 6 hours or I sleep for 7.5 hours. I never go for 9 because my body just won't. It usually wakes up before then. But I always wake up either at 6 hours or at 7.5 hours, and I feel refreshed. I don't hit the snooze. I can pop right up and get going with what I need to be doing for my morning routine. And that's the biggest key is try to set a simple sleep time and remove distractions from going to bed. So many people start watching TV and then they leave the TV on and, their shades are open so they have light coming in. You want your room dark. You want electronic distractions away from you. And then you want to focus on that time frame of, 6 hours, 7.5, 9 hours.
Okay.
And then if you're going to take a nap, last thing about sleep, either go for 20 minutes or go for an hour and a half. Don't try to go like in between then. 20 minutes is enough little refresh. Hour and a half is part of your REM cycle, but don't try to get in the middle there because then you'll just get more tired and want to go back to bed.
Or, it's funny, in podiatry school, I used to take power naps, which were about 20 minutes, where, I would get out of class, I'd go take a 20-minute nap, I'd feel totally refreshed and go study for 5 hours or whatever it was.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, those
that worked out great. Last thing, water. You talked about water. How much water should we be drinking? Typically,
don't go less than 64 ounces, which is half a gallon. I tell people to shoot for 96 to 100 ounces a day, just so your body has enough water to stay hydrated. A lot of the times when we're hungry is because we're dehydrated, and so your body's just craving water from something, so it's forcing you to eat more and find everything that's in sight. So if you are finding yourself drinking at least a half gallon, if not 96 ounces a day, you're going to pee more throughout the day. That's a part of your life. That's good for you. It flushes out toxins and fat in your body. But it just hydrates the rest of your organs so they're running more properly so you can, keep your metabolism going, have more alertness, things of that nature.
Now, I've had patients where I ask them about their hydration level, and they say, I'm totally hydrated. I drink like 5 cups of coffee a day. That's not the same thing, right?
No, all the caffeine in the coffee will dehydrate you. Gatorade is not the same thing. Anything like fruit drinks or anything. If you're doing a smoothie that you make from home and it's fresh veggies, yogurts, water, things of that nature, that's one thing. But if it's something you buy at the store and it's, flavored water or Powerade or, coffee or tea, that's not the same as water.
Wonderful. Jeff, one of the questions I asked towards the end of the show with all my guests is what they feel the holy grail of health would be. What do you think it is?
The holy grail for health for me is consistency. So many people want to have, the images they see on magazines. So many people want to feel great all the time, but they aren't consistent enough to make it happen. So like what I do with the virtual training, I basically am selling accountability and the convenience so you have that consistency in your life to always have, when you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you're consistently happy. And that's what I want for everybody. So consistency is a big part.
Jeff, how would people that want to know more about you, want to subscribe to your services, how would they find out about you, sir?
Yeah, go to the website, tbc.fit. And on there, click on the book assessment. You get 30 minutes with me to go over your goal setting, to do a quick health assessment to see where your current fitness status is at. And then we can develop a plan for you to say, hey, if you're looking to do a weight loss or weight gain or train for something, here's what you need to be doing. Whether I'm the person for you, that's fine. If you want to try it on your own, that's fine. But at least it gives them direction to know how to get started in their fitness journey.
Jeff McMahon, thank you so much for being on the show. We really, really enjoyed it.
It was a pleasure being here. Thank you for having me.
This episode is sponsored by New Jersey Foot and Ankle Center in Oradell, New Jersey. Remember, when you have a foot problem, you've got a foot doctor in the family. Weekend and evening appointments are available. Call us at 201-261-9445. Once again, that's 201-261-9445. Thanks for listening. Check out the show notes over at drdanspeaks.com. If you're loving the show, head over to iTunes and leave us a review, and we'll catch you next time.